Too.
Awesome. Well, to all our viewers, welcome to Friday, the 11th of April. This is our performance seminar for the 6:30 session, and we have one pianist here with us. So, Miss One Pianist, go ahead and introduce yourself and the piece you're playing and the composer.
I'm Ellen, and I'll be playing A Town with an Ocean View.
Cool. And who wrote it?
Joe Asashi.
Nice. Well done. How was that?
It was it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk us through the things that you feel are falling into place first.
I when I was practicing this, I mainly focused on like lines similar to like bar 24 to 27-ish because
Mm.
the rhythm was very difficult to match up.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just these polyrhythms, right?
Mhm.
These are coming into place though. I
Yeah.
remember when we were working on them briefly in Kaizen,
Mhm.
right? How are you feeling about them now?
I feel a lot better with them,
Yeah,
especially. Like I focused most of my energy on that part. So at the
yeah.
beginning, it was kind of not very smooth. But when I
Hmm.
got there, I kind of felt more comfortable doing it because of how much I practiced specifically that part.
Yeah, it's clear you put in the reps, right? So I would continue to practice da and da dun ding, and then I would land on that note and just
Mhm.
stop, right, as an exercise. And then I would start on that note. Ba and da dun dun. When we were doing it together, did I encourage you to tap it on your legs or
Yeah.
on like a table?
Mhm.
Continue doing that. Yeah,
Oh,
continue doing that because it will just really help you internalize it. Um, yeah, I thought in general the tempo that you've selected, this is a good tempo. It allows you to actually see what's coming up next because there's a ton of movement in this.
mhm.
There's a lot going on. And so the main challenge that we have when playing is making sure that number one, we know where we're going to next and getting our hand into that position, right? So all of this stuff over here, jumping from these octaves to the single note, back to the octave to the single note, you want to rehearse all those movements. And what I mean by rehearse is you play that octave, right? This one over here, and then you need to, as when you play the octave, you're kind of using it like a springboard to shift to the next note. And then you use the next note to shift to the next note. Does that make sense? So rather than just playing one note, stop, next note, stop. You're constantly just moving, and your hand is constantly just shaping to the shape of the notes, right? So when you have this kind of stuff, you have a chord and a single note, you got to play that, and then your hand shrinks. You play this little thing, and then your hand opens up again, and it plays that, right? So opens up, closes, opens up. It may seem strange, but if you actually rehearse all that choreography with the hand, it helps you play a lot with a lot more fluency. And especially with a piece like this, look how many jumps there are.
Mhm.
It just there's a lot that's going on. So just keep that in mind when you play. Just study one measure and then ask yourself, how exactly does my hand have to move to get from one position to the next? And what's the most efficient way of moving so that I'm not guessing?
Mhm.
And what that does as well is you don't need to think about the notes so much anymore. It's all movement based. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you're playing these kind of lines, think about leading with the pinky. Don't try land the whole octave, but just play just the pinky, and then the thumb will follow, right? So these are like little tricks that you can do to minimize movement. Just assign movement to one finger. Same thing with the chords. Think about the top lines. That'll help you as well. Um, anything else that popped up? Yeah, I think in this session, I just wanted to talk to you about some technical things that you can consider, when playing it. All the stuff here sounded fine. Um, what would you like to be able to do with this piece here? What's your goal over the next month of what you like to achieve musically?
I just want to be able to play it smoothly and just enjoy this piece because I do really like this style of music.
Hmm.
So just to continue and like play it well and
Yeah,
smoothly so I can enjoy it too.
good. Yeah, you're on your way, right? You're
Mhm.
definitely on your way. So keep keep practicing it in very small amounts. Yeah. But I think my biggest tip for you is to study how the hand has to move. Like just play it roughly and then think to yourself, I was like, what's the best way I can get from the E to the G? Okay, so when I play the B is kind of like a pivot. E B G. E B G. And just practice that move 2, 3 times. Just like how you're practicing the threes against twos. That's it. Right? All of this stuff over here. How do you play this smoothly? Is there a fingering that you need? Right? What's the best fingering? And then when you get the fingering, once again, how should your hand move from one key to the next? Yeah. So this is why you'll hear teachers often say, also keep the wrists free, Because if you keep the wrist stiff, unless you're, say you're a painter, right?
Mm.
Only time that you're really going to keep the wrist in a set position is if you're drawing lines, right? But the majority of the time, if you're painting or you're trying to create texture and colors, it's this kind of movement. It's the same thing, yeah. So anyway, this is all recorded. The best teacher will be you, honestly. You have to listen to it, listen back to your playing, and just take down notes. Be you want to be critical, not to criticize, but to understand what are you doing right and what are the areas that are a little bit shady that need to be strengthened, right? Um, okay, so let's set a goal then for the next week. If I see you again in a week, what will I expect to see from you?
I think just especially the beginning and where it jumps, just
Mhm.
like a lot smoother. And also, I'm trying to keep the tempo more steady because I think it's like you can tell pretty easily where I'm more comfortable and where I like struggle more because the tempo does shift. So I think just smoother tempo, um, just getting the jumps and like hand movements, like you said, more smooth and consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are good goals. One thing that, as you were talking, I was thinking about these jumps is, let's say you're going from this B to the G. You need to practice shifting there as quickly as possible, but then you play it slowly, as opposed to shift and play. There's a danger then you might strike the wrong note. So if you're just practicing this here, just practice going, play the B, and then shift as quickly as you can to the G, and then play it slowly. Take your hand off the keys, readjust, B to the G, right? Your eye needs to be on the G though, and you need to be really specific with what you tell your hand to do. So in this instance, you would say pinky on the G, just like that. And the hand will do what you say, right? But if you give vague instructions, like I gotta try and hit it, hand won't do it. It's really hard to get that consistency. So what I've learned over time, especially when I'm trying to really connect with pieces of music that have a lot of technical difficulty, is I have to be super specific with the instruction that my brain is telling the hand. And you do that often enough, like what you just did. You build up that rep, those reps, and the muscles in the hand will just smash it out. Then you'll be rich and famous. I'll be like, "Hey, Ellen, it's me!" when you're at the Oscars, getting your Oscar for the best motion picture soundtrack. Like, no, I don't know you. Oh. Remember we talked about jumping? Yeah, yeah. Hey, listen, right? We joke about it now. You never know. You might go deep with it. You might go deep with this and be like, actually, I want to write music. I'm so inspired by Hisashi and Studio Ghibli. I'm going to try writing in this style. Um, so anyway, that's my sermon for today. In a usual class, I won't be able to chat this much of, unfortunately, because we've got three other students. But hopefully, that gives you some food for thought on your journey. Okay. Awesome. All right. I'll post up the video so that you can check it out in your own time, and we'll see you in Kaizen sometime.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alan. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye, you too.